Shake it out. It's okay. Woo. Everybody just, you ready? All right, we're going to go ahead and call to order the special session. To have a motion to adjourn into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll reconvene after executive session. We've come out of executive session and we are now reconvening in special session. Discussion and possible action concerning items posted and discussed by council in executive session. We don't have any. To have a motion to adjourn the special session.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. At this time, we'll call to order the workshop session. First item is discussion and presentation regarding Eagle Scout project.
Hi, my name is Luke Cunard, and I am a Boy Scout from our local troop, Troop 200. And today I'm here to present to you my Eagle Scout project, or more of a proposal to put up bat houses and campbell fire. So far in my Eagle Scout project, I've been able to get permission from Cooper Springs to put 2 bat houses there, and some buildings in downtown Lampasas to put bat houses there. And before I go on, I would like to talk why I want to do bats for my project. So, bats are really good for the environment. They are natural pesticides. They will eat any type of bug, and they are great pollinators. But the biggest reason why I wanted to do bats is due to humans, they have been losing their habitats. And these houses would give them a suitable shelter to raise their young and just live happily. So that's my biggest reason why. Now, how do the bat houses work? Well, they are a rectangular box that has these things called chambers inside of them. And these chambers are stored, which allows the bat to climb up on them and will allow them to roost. The type of bat house I want to go for is a large bat house, which is about 2 times the size of this house, and it could hold up to 300 bats, which would be really good because Lampasas does happen to get a lot of bats. So the next thing is setting up bats in, setting up the houses in Lampasas. The bat houses would have to be set up on poles, which are being provided. They would have to be set up 15 feet or higher and 20 feet away from any obstacles that could disrupt them from getting in their house, much like trees. And they would have to be painted a light blue because, of course, it gets hot in Texas, and we wouldn't want the bats to overheat. Also, just in case it does get too hot, there's a safety measure that would go under the house, and it's called a safety net. And if the bats overheat, they'll fall out, and the net will catch them. And once they cool off, they'll be able to climb right back in. Now, setting up the bat houses in Campbell, we decided that they shouldn't be near the pathways, but a little whiles near the forage area. So because one, it's closer to water, and it's further away from human activity, giving the bats their peace when they need. That would be all for my presentation.
Does council have any questions?
So you're doing 2 bat houses in Cooper, 2 bat houses in Campbell, and how many in the city? 2. Okay, so 6 total? Yes. Thanks, Luke.
I think you educated us quite extensively on a subject maybe we didn't know much about. We appreciate you very much.
Yeah, we had one council meeting where we had like 100 bats in City Hall one night. Right? Wasn't there?
How long is this for? How long are you gonna do this for? would they be permanent?
Any more questions?
Yeah, who goes and takes care of them after they're in there?
Well, I know for a little while, when my Eagle project is finishing up, I will have to watch them. But these houses the bats will, they shouldn't be needed to be checked on.
Is,
They're good tenants? Okay.
is there I believe the word's iguana that's associated with this that would be on the ground?
Yes, that's the other reason why we didn't want it near human pathways, because if it's near the forest area, it will just collect the amount of forest area. And they also talked about using the guana as fertilization for an upcoming project. But the thing about guana, if there is too much, it could be a bit of a problem. So it is going to have to be put in a composition and then used.
And who would be responsible for that? The community garden? I'd rather guana be on the ground than inside the walls of some of our buildings downtown, so.
Or downtown on the streets.
Mhm.
And
Right.
did you need anything from council?
And you've secured your fundraising efforts and got your money together and?
Not yet, but I will be working.
Okay. Thank you. Next item on workshop, discussion regarding City of Lampasas 580 Sports Complex Park Trails.
It's not on. Hello? Okay. So we were approached by a local resident who showed some interest in building some hike and bike trails out at 580. We've got approximately 120 undeveloped acres out there that really there's no plans for at this time. There has been talk, and in fact, when that complex was constructed, there was some talk of building some trails in the future. Through the contact that he gave us, we contacted Mike, I'm going to say this wrong, but RepTac or something like that, with Trail Solutions and IMBA, International Mountain Bike Association. And he has given us what he believes is a good plan. I think each one of you have a copy of it in your packet there. And we're interested to hear council's recommendations, concerns.
Chris, are
Yes.
these motocross bikes or
No
bicycles?
motorized
No
vehicles at all.
motorized? Good.
I have a few questions.
Please.
I do too.
My first concern is while I'm not opposed to the trails eventually, I think the timing of it, with as many things as we've got upcoming, we're still trying to save some money in the long term to look at the wastewater interceptors. I realize that's a different fund, but it's still city money. And we have a lot of other projects to do in this. We're just now starting this budget year. And if they want to do something out there on their own to create some trails that doesn't cost the city any money, I don't have an issue with it from that standpoint. I do have an issue with us spending money on a project like that at this time.
Let me offer some further clarification before we get into this. The reason we're looking at this expense of the planning of the trails alone is because we do have a group highly motivated and willing to work to start their volunteer efforts to do the trail works out there. What we don't want is for them to preemptively go out there and start creating trail system that when the time comes that we're ready to invest in a more elaborate system, it's counterintuitive, it's counterproductive, it's created a system that doesn't go with what our plan would allow us to do. So we have a plan in place. We require them to adhere to that plan during their volunteer efforts, and then the expense to develop upon that system can be taken up later. But the city has a habit of starting something and then deciding we're going to do it in a different way, and then we've already shot ourselves in the foot by starting it without a plan.
Then I have a question in regards, was there not a plan when we did the Parks and Wildlife grant? Because I believe hiking back trails were also
They were part of the
included.
plan, they were not a designed plan. The trails have to be designed. The use of that area for hike and bike trails existed, but there was not a design for that.
I'm still of the opinion we've got enough on our plate.
My thought for bringing this to council was, if anything has been proven to us over the last several months, is that staying home or close to home is your best option right now. And diversifying the options for people beyond a sports field or a swimming pool, to me, is important. And this is an option for people to be outside, to be active. It's an option for an organization to come in and utilize the area that's not being utilized. And there's nothing wrong with people being outside and being active, especially if the cost is this low and all we're doing is putting together a design that could be used later, and that we don't overstep, future options by letting volunteers do their work now.
And I understand what you're saying. I just thought that we were going to have a council workshop or something in the future to discuss a number of these projects that we have that come up, and we have not even gotten to that point yet.
'Cause we're waiting for new council members.
We're already adding new projects.
And this was just put on workshop for council to discuss, to see if the interest existed. As Finley expressed to everybody, this is something brought to us by citizens, where if they have an idea, the council has a responsibility to hear it.
Is that not an action item on the agenda?
But it's being workshop first. We didn't just put it as an action item. We put it as a workshop item also.
I have a question. So basically, the $12,000, that doesn't have to be spent right now. This is just the plan, and then or it does have to be.
The
spent.
12,000 is for the plan, is for them to come and design it.
It's for the design of the
There
trail.
is no cost associated with developing and building out.
Right,
This
because
is
we
a
have the
plan
people
for them
that
to, right.
Because we have the people that are volunteering to go out and clear and do all that stuff.
It's
I
basically the engineering for it,
I understand. Okay.
which, if you look at it that way, we pay
It's
for
not engineering, it's just design.
it's design, but basically same kind of process. For $12,000, this is a great usable space that we would realistically get a good value. The Mountain Bike Association and the traveling mountain bike people that go around to different places is huge. Austin is the BMX capital of the world. There is tons of bike trails all around here. There's a humongous mountain bike downhill climb. I don't know if y'all know this, right there on Lake Buchanan. It's huge. It's 500 or 600 feet high, and you ride a ski lift up, and you can ride your mountain bike down. People come from all over the country to go to that place. That's 20 minutes from here. If you guys have never even seen it, take a drive out there to Lake. Yes, it's amazing. This is a great value for what the city will benefit in addition to our parks. No question about it.
I'm not opposed to a bike trail. I am opposed to spending money on it right now.
Okay, other council members?
There is an action item at 7.5.
Correct, and that's when we'll vote. Go ahead.
What funds are we planning to use for this?
Hey, what are we doing, Yvonne? Yvonne said we can do this.
Okay, thank you.
Chris, do we have any guidance on the usage of our trails systems at all? Back reference to what TJ asked about motorized. Do we have anything on the books anywhere that talks about motorized ATVs or motorized motorcycles or anything
Not
on
that I'm
any
aware
of
of.
our trails?
Not that I'm aware of. I think it would just be, we'd have to create an ordinance or a set of rules that they would have to go by as they utilize these trails.
The reason I'm asking too is because you had a letter to the editor in the newspaper a couple of weeks ago that talked about the cemetery.
Right.
And he recommends, and it is a good walking place. I do it all the time. But he also talked about ATVs being in there and a lot of other things for that. And I'm just wondering if we even have something in force, police chief, that says if those things are in there or on there, or undeveloped areas or developed areas at that point, what do we have to enforce the rules and regulations that we have about those things?
I don't think we have anything to enforce right this minute, but I think that would be, certainly be a bridge that we'd have to cross if this goes.
Well, I think if it's utilized as a mountain bike, park, so to speak, you're not going to have motorized vehicles. You have motorized vehicles there now.
But I would say you have them there now because there's no one out there. You know, if you had people out there on
That's
mountain
my
bikes
point.
and running and
They're
jogging,
out there, believe me.
it's
I know,
gonna-
they're out there now. When you have tons of people using it for nothing but, mountain bikes, you're not going to have motorized vehicles out there.
The only question, Mike, I'd have too, with a lot of, are you trying to combine a walking trail with a mountain bike trail at the same time?
That's how they
Yes.
intend to design it.
Are they different? Are they,
Compatible to walk
Yes.
are they compatible with dogs and whatever else?
This company will design it to be utilized as both.
Yes.
And most mountain bikers will tell you there's hardly ever a mountain bike trail that is not utilized as a walking trail also.
Correct.
I just think if we're going to move forward on any of this, we need to move forward with an ordinance very quickly, or whatever guidance the city so determines.
This does,
I
Chuck is
sure
right,
do
this
not
does.
want motorized vehicles on those trails.
Well, I think you were correct that we don't want motorized vehicles on any of our parkland that we
It
maintain.
worried me when I saw it on the cemetery side of it, because that was a citizen recommending,
Right.
and I thought, well, that's not going to work.
No, we wouldn't want any motorized vehicles at all out there.
Does council have any more questions in regards to the proposal to design the trails? And you heard that we do, Yvonne said that we have the funding, where it would come from. You are the understanding that this is a design. There's no other questions? Okay, moving on. Thank you, Chris. Item number 4, discussion and presentation regarding Series 2012 refunding bond update.
This is probably a little more exciting than just sticking it on a manager's report. We wanted to take up some workshop space to more completely report to you on the recent bids that we received on our series. These are actually 2012 bonds that we are going to refund into a Series 2020. When we originally voted on this in June, council passed an ordinance that was based on an estimate that was put together of about 2.46% interest. Most of these bonds currently that we're holding are in the 3 to 4% range in interest. And I think Yvonne and I were both thinking, gosh, if we can get sub 2, then, that was better than sliced bread. We would just do handstands if we could get below sub 2. But even at the 2.46, it did show that an estimated savings to the city and to our taxpayers of over $200,000. The bids received, we did get a 1.43 true interest cost from Classic Bank, which results in a savings of $404,000 over the term. Council, remember you put certain conditions on the refunding, that we wouldn't extend our term, we wouldn't increase the par amount, and I believe there was another condition that we put on it. But anyway, the great news is that through 2036, we're going to be saving probably as much as $23,000 a year. The schedule of your savings is on page 21, and so it gives you the savings by year. We won't save as much money this year because we're actually going to pay down some of that from the savings that we'll receive in FY21. That's all I've got for you, other than money's cheap right now, but our earnings are not very good either, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Finley. Item number 5, discussion and updates related to COVID-19 pandemic.
Good day, Mayor, Council. I'll give you a trimmed-down version since I'm much shorter than the fire chief. He gives a tall version. The state of Texas is reporting 91,885 cases. The fatality rate is now at 17,504. with 5,206 hospitalized. The positivity rate is 7.71%, and that's the test taken to show positive rates. Lampasas County, which includes the city, has a total of 403 cases. Out of that, we only have 8 active cases. We're still showing 11 deaths in Lampasas County. It says the state of Texas is on an upward trend. Top 5 active county cases account for more than half of all active cases within the state. So I did a little research, and some of our biggest numbers is El Paso at 6,000. In the last 7 days, is 6,568 cases. Lubbock has 1,852. Tarrant County has 4,518. Dallas is at 4,109, and Harris County is 4,391. Get a little closer to home. With Lampasas being 8. Burnet has 75 cases, Llano has 12, Coryell has 33, San Saba has 7, and Hamilton has 14. Trimmed down version of the COVID-19 report. You have any questions?
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Item number 6, discussion and presentation of the Lampasas County Chamber of Commerce Tourism and Visitor Center fourth quarter report.
He might be shorter, but I'm even shorter. So take that down. Thank you for seeing me again this month. I was just here last month, but I will be reporting the Q4 numbers for this council's purpose for this meeting. And if there are any questions, I'll take those at this time.
Any questions from council on the fourth quarter report submitted by the chamber?
How are your membership numbers doing?
I'm at 254.
Is that good?
It is good, yes, because we have done our purge, and we'll see come 2021, because we did go to an annual dues membership billing, so we'll see what those numbers shake out to be in 2021. So, thank you.
Guess that's it. Easy enough, huh?
Thanks.
Thank you. Item number 7, discussion regarding any item on the regular agenda. Does anyone wish to bring up anything we're going to talk about later? Do I have a motion to adjourn workshop?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Would y'all like a 10-minute break?
Yes.
Okay, 10 minutes. We'll come back. At this time, we'll call to order the regular session of the governing body of the city of Lampasas. It's like y'all know what to do. At this time, if you would please rise for invocation.
Please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we give you all the glory, honor, and praise. You, God, are the creator of all. You have all the power, wisdom, knowledge. You are holiness, mercy, and love. And Father, we are blessed people in Lampasas. We praise you for protecting us, for healing our sick, for caring for our lost, caring for those that have lost so much in life lately, and for casting away the devil. With your love and direction, we've been victorious. And Father, because of your strength, we are able to succeed. We ask that you watch over us tonight and that you continue to guide us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
We do not have any presentations or proclamations this evening. Couple of housekeeping things. If you're safely distanced from the person 6 feet away from you, you may remove your mask if you so choose, if it's easier for you to make your presentations. For those watching at home, if you wish to call in, phone number is going to be 512-556-0332. Item 1.1, public hearing, citizens' comments. Any citizen who desires to address the city council on a matter not included on the agenda may do so at this time. The city council may not deliberate on items presented under this agenda item. Do you have anyone who wishes to speak on an item that is not included on the agenda? Item 1.2, citizens' comments. Any citizen who desires to address the city council on a matter that is included on the agenda may do so at this time. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak on an item that's included on the agenda? Item 2.0, minutes. 2.1, discussion and possible action concerning approval of minutes of the regular meeting.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. 3.0, consent agenda. 3.1, discussion and possible action regarding the second reading of an ordinance to consider conditionally granting the request to vacate, abandon, or close and convey a street, alley, and/or public right-of-way or a portion thereof for property being described as 0.085 of an acre portion of an alley located in Block 54 of the A.H. Barnes Addition between East 9th Street and Spring Hoe Avenue, conditionally upon the closing of remaining lots in Block 54 and providing all conditions in the contract for sale are approved by both parties. Item 3.2, discussion of possible action regarding the second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 78, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 2, Specific Street Regulations, to add a new Division 7 to the city's traffic and vehicle codes entitled Pedestrians, Section 182 through 193, including enforcement provisions, fines, a savings, and severability clause, and including an effective date. And item 3.3, discussion and possible action regarding the monthly investment report for September 2020. Does anyone wish to pull any of the items from the consent agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. 4.0, boards and department reports. Building official monthly report. Ladies and gentlemen, a welcome to the stage, Mr. Frank.
Thank you. Ms. Sims handed out a few moments ago prior to the break basically a compilation of notes that she took during our development board meeting, and I'd just like y'all to take a moment and scan over those and see what we're doing every week and bi-weekly in those meetings. We have a lot of projects on the board, and then we also have a lot coming up. That being said, I want to segue into a presentation from Ms. Sims and just have a few things to say. As we all know, change is coming to Lampasas. Will be driven by the economy and mass egress from other states. This small Texas town is changing from a town to a city. This will be complicated further by a change of culture, values, demographics, and sooner than later is the time to take this into consideration. Anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, Becky.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I did lay on your dais the actual presentation I'm going to be going over, and these are similar to what I did last year, just kind of going over all of our stats that we do throughout the year. So on the first one, it just kind of shows you the total permits by type. So you'll see like 153 were remodels, 189 were electric, plumbing is 168. These stand alone, but they also go with a new structure, so a new home or a new commercial building. Those are tied to that as well. But this just kind of shows you a breakdown of what we do throughout the year. It averages 64 per month, and then it comes out to be about 3 per day. This right here will kind of show you on a monthly kind of span of how many permits are issued per month, and this is just all of them. But you can see kind of when March hit, all the way through June, July time period, COVID did not slow us down at all. We stayed very consistent through those months. We were still very busy. There was a lot of people at home doing their, projects, doing things that they've been waiting to do that they didn't have the time to do, and they made the time to do it during this time. Of the 153 remodel addition permits, 52 were roof permits. I thought that was kind of interesting. A lot of people do the re-roofs when it comes to storms, or we see a lot of hail damage, but 52 is kind of a high number, I thought, in relation to what's been going on. We had 38 that were related to sheds, carports, pavilions, or workshops, and then we had 15 that were related to commercial buildings. So I gave a list of the things that we've done out in the field with regards to any type of remodel that required an inspection or a permit for. So like you'll see First State Banks, they did a new storefront. The Lampasas Beer Barn did some remodeling. The museum did some remodeling. We added some storage units over to Brown Street. Martin and Rod Custom, they did a paint booth. Jones and Heroy Associates, they added an expansion to their office. Cherry on top, of course, was the rehab. And then even like Boone's RV Park added some sites over there to their location as well. Lampasas High School, right now we're actually going through some plan reviews. The cosmetology department is a little further along. They've actually started implementing a lot of that. But the culinary, we've given those plan sets back. And then with the auto tech, I just received those plan reviews back as well. So those are ongoing projects. Heritage Funeral Home is a rehab, and it's currently progressing. And then, of course, the beer market just opened not too long ago. Of the 52 building permits, 41 were new homes, and this just kind of highlights those builders that have been kind of significant in that process. Of course, RKJ's done a few, Atkinson Wilson has done a few, Hernandez has done a couple, Stone Valley, of course, they have the subdivision, and then Far and Far Spring Creek. This will show you the inspections per month. So it'll kind of show you that we're pretty consistent when Frank goes out in the field. There are some slower months, but typically he stays pretty busy from the time he gets here until the time he leaves. He's normally out in the field. This right here is just showing you a new business list, and this is something that's either open based on they just kind of went into a retail spot, or it created a remodel, or a new building, new location. It just kind of, just a vast variety. There's a lot of them that were, like Burger King was from the ground up. MacArthur moved into a spot. Baby J's moved into a spot. All those were the suites that were being built off of 281 next to the storage buildings. All those suites now are full. Alamo Coffee is the latest one that's actually getting a remodel, if you will. It was going to be a bakery, and then that didn't work out. So now they're kind of remodeling it and moving Alamo Coffee over there. So it's going to be a little different setup than what was originally planned for that suite. The Beer Barn, of course. Nancy Nails is just a new one over there on the strip center over by Mojo and Tractor Supply. Stretched by Faith Yoga, it just went into a retail spot. There was no really major remodel done. Rights of Green and Clean Services, they purchased some property on 190, moved their business there. And then Oldham Welding, again, he's not new, but he found a location in town that was more suitable for him. Then planning and zoning. We had 5 meetings, 12 public hearings, 139 certified letters were sent out. The types of requests that we've had over this last year, we had 3 rezone, 6 specific use permits, 2 preliminary plat approvals, and then 3 zoning amendments. Zoning Board of Adjustment, we had 3 meetings, 4 public hearings, and 136 certified letters were sent. This was all based on reduction to front yard or side yard setbacks just to accommodate structures for the most part. I'm not going to go through this whole list, but these are all the adopted ordinances that we've done over this last year, from fee schedules to SUPs to some zoning regulations that we modified and changed. But we stayed quite busy going through all of those and modifying as needed. And that is it. That sums it up. So if y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any.
Thank you, Becky.
Very welcome.
5.0 routine matters. 5.1 city manager's operational report.
I'm just going to make a brief comment about the building official report and Becky and the activity that you saw in their report. The one thing that you don't see on that report is the amount of time that they spend with individuals, with builders, with people wanting to open up a lunch spot for hot dogs. and the amount of time and hours that they spend with that one individual or that one person that's looking to redesign, remodel, improve their space, their commercial space. So I would put our overworked crew up against anybody in terms of, you know, a consistent message, a consistent voice, and consistently reaching out and helping folks that, like I say, have anything from an idea scratched on the back of a napkin to a full-blown set of plans. So, and I think that is an important perspective and perception that we need to maintain. West 3rd Street, we wanted to mention to you that particularly as Irby was in town doing some work on LCRA transmission line, some of their heavy equipment as they went through that low water crossing there about the 1100 block of West 3rd Street. You know, we noticed that some of the roadway kind of gave way, opened it up, and yes, we did have some undermining going on there from the culverts apparently that had somewhat eroded and created some turbulence or some undermining of that road. Ricky is on top of that. He has actually had contractors as well as engineers out there. This could be a somewhat major project if we have to go in and replace those 10 horns with a traffic-rated box culvert, a precast box culvert. However, we are continuing to seek the advice and direction from our engineers, and we'll going to be detouring around that section until such time. It's not the heavy equipment that caused this, it is the heavy equipment that resulted in us knowing about it. Mail, somewhat related to this on West 3rd as well as on Avenue E and other parts of town as roads have been temporarily closed or access has been limited. I would say even on West Avenue E, you can still get to the house, you can still get to the mailboxes, but one thing that we've had some frustration in, certainly not as frustrating as the residents, but frustrating to Ricky is, you know, these folks aren't getting their mail delivered. So we've actually gone out and moved mailboxes. Mailboxes was not a part of the contractor's requirement on doing, but we've moved them closer to the curb. But so mail trucks can get down there now, but if the story we got is if they had to get out of their truck to deliver mail, then they just take it back to the shop. Anyway, Ricky's stayed on top of that, have had several conversations with the post office. We're hopeful for a solution. We're certainly trying to aid in the relocation of some of those mailboxes that are now much further away from the curb.
Could we invite the postmaster for our Lampasas post office to a workshop session? I would love to. Please extend an invite from me to her. Thank you.
Just, yeah, and I don't have to tell you, there are a lot of folks that rely on mail for their medication and other essentials. So that is something that we've, particularly Mr. Roy has been dealing with. FD, just a couple of kind of high notes on the FD. We did get a drop-in inspection from the Texas Commission on Fire Protection. No violations. All of our record keeping was up to par, no deficiencies. Also wanted to let you know that you might see some of our personnel and apparatus at the elementary schools for Fire Prevention Month. WCID met last week and discussed public relations, fundraising, ongoing maintenance. We did get a warm-up to the next budget cycle from the state. Jared Bowen was in town and said that they are really anticipating a reduction in their state funding over the next biennium. One of the things that his agency is trying to do is get a number of projects engineered so in the event funding does become available, they can pull it off the shelf and go ahead and initiate it. The board is continuing to discuss possible sources for the 1.75% match that's required on the high hazard upgrade for dam number 6. I think Mr. Wilburn's talked to you about that previously. That could be as much as $140,000. The good and the bad news is it's a couple of years down the road, probably just to get the engineering done, but something certainly I think council may want to discuss at some point in terms of participation or certainly hear from the WCID in terms of what their plans might be for securing those funds. Development fees, anytime we get a comment from the public, I like to pass them on to you. A lot of times through the report, we just did get a comment on our development fees related to zoning, rezoning. Concern was expressed about the cost and the cost justification. Council in 2018 increased that fee to $250. I think the 250 was in place, and then in 2018 we also added postage and publication. Our publication costs, when you see one of those in the paper, I mean, that could be a couple of $100, and so even if somebody was paying $250, by the time the publication cost was paid for by the city as well as the postage, we were losing money. But I bring this to council's attention in the event you do want to discuss it at a future workshop. Like I said, we always like to pass on items to you that we hear from the public. Great stuff from Vision and the donors that they were able to secure for the upgrade to the signage out by the airport. If you haven't been out there, I wish we had a before and after. The before wasn't terrible, but it wasn't as clean and crisp and expanded and as professional as this is. And certainly, as we do several times during the year, we tip our hats to Vision and that dedicated group of volunteers and donors. Anniversaries, big month in October. We have more anniversaries in October than we do at any other time of the year because that's the month that the OMI employees were incorporated into city staff, as well as the first fiscal month of the year. And typically, if we have vacancies, we'll hold off until the next fiscal year. But folks with 5 or more years, Brandon Kepler, Mike Blair, Tom Zempel, Tyler Gillis, Jesse Acosta, Larry Wilson, Glenn Adams, Van Sims, Will Sneed, Warren Scott, and Warren just had a baby last week, I believe, Cowboy Cash Scott, and so we're happy for him. Becky Sims, Sammy Bailey, J.P. Harris, and Brian Hall. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Finley. Item 5.2, Mayor's comments. Really don't have anything other than to hope to see this many faces in attendance at our next meeting as we say farewell to Councilmember Mike White. 6.0 unfinished business, we don't have any of that. 7.0 new business. 7.1 discussion and possible action regarding the approval of the Lampasas County Chamber of Commerce Tourism and Visitor Center fourth quarter report as presented. We reviewed this item in workshop.
If there are no other questions about the quarterly report, then if there's any more of those, I would just like to say in regards to Councilmember Monroe's comment earlier about membership, there's a lot of great things in the works for 2021, and with all the new businesses that you did see in the report earlier, we've had an influx of new businesses coming into the chamber, seeing how they can get involved and participate, and so we are very hopeful and very excited about that, which leads me to, we will be having an open house for the Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center in December, yet to be determined the date, because we do want to show all the great work that we've been doing over there, and welcome our members and the public to come throughout the day just to see the center and find out more about what the benefits of becoming a chamber member and visitor center member entails. I would also like to invite everyone to the Hunter's Welcome, November 6th. We've seen an increase in inquiries about hunting in Lampasas and coming to Lampasas for the season, and we're very excited about that. We've seen several people doing road trips and staycations, and so we're really focusing on making Lampasas a destination instead of a pass-through, so they can spend their money here. So I invite everybody November 6th to come by and see us and grab your lunch, and we'd love to have you. And that's about it.
Council have a motion?
Make a motion to accept the fourth quarter report from the chamber.
Second.
I have a motion, second. Any questions for Melissa?
Thank you.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. 7.2, discussion of possible action to consider a resolution terminating future additional pole attachment by AT&T to City of Lampasas utility poles due to lack of pole attach agreement renewals and update.
Mayor and Council, as the summary statement indicates, in September of 2019, you approved the engagement of local government services to conduct not only a pole audit, but to negotiate new pole attachment agreements with AT&T and Suddenlink. Suddenlink agreement was completed 2 months ago, about 2 or 3 months ago. AT&T has been moving very, very slowly. We went through a period of time when we had no communication with them. It is our consultant's recommendation that we consider a resolution that provides them 1-year written notification per our agreement that they can no longer make any new attachments or have any additional pole attachments to City of Lampasas poles. As background, this original agreement was executed in 1949. We've got a 70-year-old agreement at this point in time. They're paying $3 an attachment. In 1944, Southwestern Bell and the city probably had the same number of poles. So there was very good parity, but the expense of the maintenance, et cetera, has now tipped. They're relying more and more on city poles for their attachments. They have about a little less than 2,000 attachments to city poles. We probably have less than 200 attachments to AT&T poles. So we would ask council to consider in the affirmative the resolution that's attached as it was explained. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do you have a motion from council?
I'll make the motion, and I'd like to ask a question afterwards. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Questions?
Finley, how much do we pay for our attachments to their pole?
It's a net. It's a net. So, for example, of the 1,951, if we're attached to 200, then they would pay us for 1,751. So it's a net.
So if this agreement goes away, they will continue to pay the $3 for anything that is still attached?
Correct.
Finley, is there any way to police that to make sure that they don't do any?
We've got to keep an eye on it, absolutely. And I think there are 2 ways to do that. Obviously, as our crews are out working their utilities, to keep an eye on that. But the other thing is, and it's just good practice to do a periodic audit, probably every 5 years or so.
Good.
Thank you, Finley. I do have a motion and a second. Any additional questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. 7.3, discussion of possible action regarding a request by Martin Marietta, Lampasas Ready Mix to sublease 1203 McLean, Lampasas, Texas. You have that motion?
Yes, I make a motion to approve or deny or consider a motion to direct staff to work with city attorney and communicate with representatives from Martin Marietta regarding the city's position on this matter.
Second.
Hold on, is
Approve.
the motion to approve, which one?
Approve.
To approve.
Sorry, I was just reading.
And you second the motion to approve? Any additional questions or comments? Finley, you have anything?
Mayor and council, I might ask for a little clarification on the motion. I think there were 3 options for council to consider in that motion recommendation statement. One was to approve the sublease. One was to deny the sublease. And the other one was to authorize the staff to work with the city attorney to communicate with Martin Marietta. So I apologize about the confusion, but I think we need to narrow it down.
So I should consider a motion just to direct staff to work with the city attorney and communicate with Martin Marietta.
To approve the communication, correct? Okay. And Chuck, would you like to reiterate that your second is for that effect? Any additional questions or comments? Okay, we currently have a motion to authorize staff to communicate with Martin Marietta regarding the request to sublease. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Sorry for the confusion.
7.4, discussion of possible action regarding an Eagle Scout project that was presented and approved through LAFTA, Cooper Spring Nature Park Board, and City of Lampasas Parks and Recreation Board.
So as discussed during the workshop, Luke is looking to install a couple of bat houses in Cooper Spring Nature Park and Campbell Park, and working with the city to construct these and get them installed, and we're just looking for y'all to consider a motion to approve the project as it was discussed.
Recommend approval.
Second.
Do you have a motion and a second? Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Good luck. We wish you the best of luck, and this council and city are very appreciative of our Eagle Scouts. They do tremendous work for us, so. 7.5, discussion and possible action regarding the design proposal for City of Lampasas 580 Sports Complex Park Trails.
So as discussed in workshop, council is asked to provide additional input and direction regarding trail planning and design at 580 and consider a motion to approve or in the alternative, a motion to deny or no action at all and give staff some direction on what we should do next.
Recommend approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Questions or comments?
For the design.
Correct.
For the design, yes. Yes, no, that's good for me.
Any additional questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
I have one. You got them? You were able to tell? Okay. 7.6, discussion and possible action to declare a 2010 Crown Vic as surplus to authorize disposal as allowed by state law.
Mayor, Council, a couple of years ago, we removed this 2010 Crown Vic from our patrol fleet. It's in poor condition. We've used it for administration and training. We'd like to have you make a motion to deem it as surplus and for the city to be able to dispose of it as per state law.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you, Chief. 7.7, discuss and consider ratification of emergency purchase of fueling system credit card reader for the Lampasas Municipal Airport in the amount of $14,295 and installation cost in the amount of $4,000.
So back in September, we started having lots of problems with the card reader at the airport, at the fuel station. I'm assuming, or we're assuming, that it was caused by a lightning strike of some sort. Jesse spent countless hours working with QT Pod, AT&T, our IT department, and couldn't get anything resolved. Turns out, the unit we have out there now is 18 years old. It's obsolete. You can't get parts for it. The parts we can get are not compatible with what we have. So we had to purchase the new unit for $14,295, about $4,000 to install. And we're just looking to consider a motion to approve the ratification of emergency purchase of fuel and system, including installation for the Lampasas Municipal Airport in an amount not to exceed $18,295.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Questions or comments from council?
Go
ahead, Chris.
I would like to add that this will qualify for next year's ramp reimbursement, so 50% of this will be reimbursed through TxDOT. So
That's what I thought it would be. Okay, that's my question.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. 7.8, discussion of possible action to modify Chapter 78, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 2, Specific Street Regulations, Division 2, Stop Intersections, Section 78-61, Stop Streets Generally, Division 3, Yield Intersections, Section 78-91, Schedule, Division 4, Speed Limits, Section 78-121, Speed Limit, designated to include Stone Valley Estates and Birdie Estate roadways, traffic control signage, and to update speed limits to other areas of the city.
Mayor, Council, I make a request for a motion to approve the first reading of this ordinance to include the roadways, stop intersections, yield intersections, the signs for both, and the speed limits of Stone Valley Estates, Brody Estates, and to update the speed limits in other areas of the city. Those other areas are 183 north and south as per state law, 190 Omnis Drive to make it 35, which is what that section is, 190 east to show the speed limits to be 35 and 45 coming into the city and going out of the city, and 281 south and north as per state.
I have a motion from council.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any additional questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Chief. Item 7.9, discussion of possible action regarding the purchase of two 2016 John Deere mowers leased by Hancock Park Golf Course.
Mayor and council, it was brought to our attention that we all know that Van leases his mowers and equipment out at the golf course, and the lease is up on a couple of them mowers. that could be utilized in the Parks Department. One of them's a fairway mower that could be utilized at 580 for the sports fields. The other one's a deck mower that could be used in any big open space we've got, namely the airport. But we could purchase each one of these. The fairway mower is about a $70,000 unit. We could purchase it right now for $91,25. The front deck mower is about a $22,000 unit, and we can purchase it for $3,900 right now. However, this is an unbudgeted expenditure, so I think, though, after talking with Yvonne, that there will be some cost savings in some other areas throughout the year where we could cover this and not be in a deficit because of this purchase, so. And we're asking to consider a motion to allow us to purchase both mowers.
I have a motion from council.
Recommend approval.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Go
Thank
Mo.
y'all.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Give it to TJ and let